Welcome back to Paranoid Perspectives. I'm Nelly, here with my co host Dallas, and today we're diving into the world of Mormonism. Is it just a religion, or does it have cult like control? From its mysterious origins to secretive rituals and controversies, we're breaking it all down. Let's get into it.
Paranoid or perspective?
It's time for you to decide.
Before we get into today's episode, we need to remind you that what you hear on our podcast is purely opinion-based and for entertainment purposes only.
Please be sure to do your own research and form your own opinions while listening at your own discretion.
Let's get into it. All right, welcome back to Paranoid Perspectives with Dallas and Nelly.
Heyo!
Today, as you heard in the intro, we are going to be talking about Mormons. This has been a highly requested topic for us, actually, which is kind of exciting. We have a topic request.
Yeah, I know. People are actually interested, and they're like, "What are you gonna put up next? Are you gonna talk about this?" And yeah, I've had a few people come up to me like, "Oh, are you gonna talk about the Mormons?" I'm like, "Dude, yeah."
And I have said it in previous episodes. I love the Mormons.
Yeah, I like their reality shows.
No, that's why I love Mormons. Definitely. Yeah. I'm a sucker for that reality TV and Sister Wives.
And they also make it very easy because it's almost like praised in their community to have family vlogs.
Yep.
So like
a lot of vloggers, if you're a YouTube person like I am, a lot of people are Mormon.
And from Utah.
Shocked me. And not even from Utah. One of my favorite guys that I watch on YouTube, he's Mormon. I didn't even know that.
And he's not like preaching his gospel. He's just
out there doing life.
Wow.
You'd never expect it.
Yeah.
But anyways, so today we're going to be talking about Mormons. How we're going to do this show today is we did this if you listen to our Jehovah episode. We talked about Dr. Hassan's bite model.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what we're going to do today. We're going to structure our episode. We're going to go through each individual category and talk about how this religion could be a cult or viewed as a cult. And then we're going to go through and I'm going to do a little bit of a rundown on the different types of Mormonism because it's kind of like it is a branch of Christianity, but it's also kind of like how Christians would be like, okay, you have Baptists and then you have Southern Baptists and then you have, Catholics and whatever else. Like there's different types of different branches of Christianity. So we're going to break that down for you. And then after that, I kind of wanted to end the episode with some closing thoughts and just a little fun. I wrote down some famous Mormons.
Cool. I'm excited.
So yeah, we'll see what you think about those.
Yeah.
So
and I think this is going to be a little bit more opinion based, which we're trying to do.
Yeah.
I guess this more discussion based, which we're trying to do on our episodes a little less fact filled, and I mean we'll still throw some facts out there.
No, right.
But I do like the discussion point, and I hate research.
Yep.
Plus, we always encourage you guys to do your own research because again, a lot of this just off the top of our heads stuff that we see between TikTok, YouTube, whatever.
No, right.
So do your own research.
Yep.
Yeah, to make sure like nothing that we say here is actually like should be taken as a fact and run with it. Like these are our opinions, stuff that we hear.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yep. All right. So let's get into the bite model. So just for a review, if you didn't watch our Jehovah episode, the bite model, which was created by Dr. Stephen Hassan, it essentially is a breakdown of how you could assess a group of individuals to be a cult. BITE is a acronym and it stands for behavior, information, thought, and emotional. So behavior, how the group controls people's actions; information, how the group controls what information people can access; thought, how the group controls what people think; and then emotional, how the group controls people's feelings. We're going to go through and we're going to break each one down individually, and we'll roll from there.
Cool.
All right. You want me to start it out?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Kicking it off with the first part of the BITE model. It's going to be behavior, and this was quite a list that I have here.
Yeah, I have a pretty big list too. I'm sure a lot of ours line up, but
quite the list. One of the big factors that I had found about the Mormon Church is that they have control over members' behavior through their strict commandments, guidelines, and standards that are set by the church itself. Yep. They have a laundry list of rules, everything down from dress, grooming, diet, and lifestyle choices. All of those things I mean, if you have watched Sister Lives,
Sister wives?
Secret Lives of Mormon Wives,
Oh yeah.
you know that they can't drink coffee
Or alcohol
or alcohol,
or tea.
correct, or tea.
But you know what gets me? They can have
Endless
gallon
soda.
size of soda. They get high on caffeine.
Yeah,
Like, why
yeah,
can't you can't have coffee or tea? I'm assuming because of caffeine, but you can have pop.
yeah. And
Why?
and they go all out with their pop. You know, everybody. We got our Starbucks. You
Yeah,
know, we love a Starbucks. We love a Dunkin'. You
but
know,
I
we
don't go buzzing on caffeine.
no, 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 no. And but they take their pop seriously. I feel like for Mormons, their swig or their, whatever it is they're drinking with their pop in there, it's kind of like their Starbucks. They can dress it how
Yeah,
they like.
I would say they're almost like. Remember as a kid when like you go somewhere and your parents be like, "Oh, here's a cup, like go fill up your pop," and you go and you fill like every single pop like concoction that you can make up, and it'd just be like disgusting. So you do everything.
Yeah, and then it's brown.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like the Mormons are like they never grew out of that phase because they
No.
didn't have an option.
No. That's you get what you get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was like a thing until I saw the show and there's a place that opened up out by where we live where they do that where you kind of like have a
Yep.
pop and then they give you all these different like flavors and they'll put like cream in there and like
But honestly, they're onto something. It
oh
is
yeah.
fire.
Yeah, we had one of those drink nights the other night and it was
Oh,
actually
it was so
yeah,
good.
what did we do? It was like Pepsi and the Chobani creamer.
Yep, we did. We did Pepsi, Chobani Creamer, which that was kind of an off the whim. It was what was had in the fridge.
Yeah, I was kind of
Brought to
like
you by yours truly.
yeah.
It normally I would do like a coconut cream is my favorite,
Mm.
personal favorite. And a Dr. Pepper.
Oh, I am a Dr. Pepper girl through and through.
It's coconut creamer and a Dr. Pepper with a fresh lime.
Mm.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, the one that we made, we had a lime in it too,
Yep.
and
Yep.
was it maraschino?
Maraschino cherries.
Yeah,
Yep.
we had some of the juice from
Yep.
that, and then a
Yep.
few cherries. Oh, it it looked weird. It hit.
Yeah, it's fire.
Like I could go around
I
chugging a
honestly I
gallon of
can't knock
that.
on the Mormons for their soda. They're onto something.
Yeah, I would drink a lot of soda if they were always like that.
100%. So
Anyways,
no, right. So back to the behavior part. The church stresses the importance of obedience to their leaders, and they may be disciplined if they're disobedient. That is a big thing for Mormons.
yeah. Have you seen Ruby Frankie?
Ooh,
That one, I
you're
think
gonna get
that
me on a rabbit hole with her.
I know we just got what we're 5 minutes into the episode, and
Yeah,
what this documentary just dropped like this week, right?
yeah, it's very new.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and me and you both watched it within the last day, so it's
yep,
fresh in the membrane.
yep.
Uh,
I've been following this case since I think it was shortly before she got arrested, or they got arrested. I started picking up on them with the traction of, oh, they're abusing their children. Oh, her kid didn't have a bed. Blah blah
because her
blah.
YouTube videos started to give off red flags. Like I
Yeah.
think I saw some of the comments where people were
Yep.
like, "Yeah,
Yep. And that's kind of when I started watching the case. And then after that, I was watching it when she was in court. I was waiting, watching Law and Crime.
so it's
I
been a
was
few years."
oh yeah, it's been a
Which it's
process.
crazy to me that she kept vlogging through. Excuse me. It's crazy to me that she kept vlogging through all that, and like she had to have known that this stuff was going to. I think there was at one point where she looked bad
Yeah. She got canceled for sure.
because her son she was telling to sleep on a beanbag chair. Like I think for
That's what
7 months he
I
couldn't
think
sleep
that's
in
what
his own room.
started it.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
people started like seeing red flags, but then she like doubled down and was like, "No, like you can't give your kids need to know their privileges and blah blah blah." And they
Your bedroom is a privilege.
yeah,
Privacy is a privilege.
eating is a privilege.
No, literally.
Like, excuse me,
That girl was off
what?
her rocker.
Yeah, and then she
Yeah.
like doubled down. It was like some of the
And she is Mormon. In
yeah
case we didn't say that, she is Mormon. She
yeah
is
because she
is
was
one
using
of
a
them.
lot of religion in it too. Like she thought
Mhm.
she was like
And
holier
her
than
husband
holy, and her
was a
kids were possessed.
her husband was a professor at BYU, Brigham Young University.
Which I didn't know,
Is
but I guess that's a Mormon
Oh yeah.
college.
Yep. I think you have to be a practicing Mormon to go there if I
Okay.
remember correctly.
Because their oldest daughter was in college at this, or just got into college when all this was going on at
Yep.
that university.
Yep. Yep. So, yeah, no, this is the church stresses the importance of obedience to their leaders. And I think that's kind of like a huge point with the Mormons is they fear disobedient behavior because they fear the consequences so much more.
Which it kind of lines up with, which I'm sure you guys will see this if you listen to our Jehovah Witness episode. A lot of the stuff with Mormons lines up with the JWs as well,
Yeah.
and they're big on discipline and behavior as well.
You hear a lot in the Mormons, like they're always like, "Oh, I'm gonna lose my temple recommend. I'm gonna lose my temple rec. I'm gonna lose this, whatever." Um, and I think that is the driving force behind why they're so scared to be disobedient.
Yeah,
And I
because
mean,
not everyone can go in the temple. I think it's only
and I'm talking disobedience like dancing, like I don't know if that's necessarily a rule for them, but like or like dressing a certain way or like saying something or like questioning a leader, like that kind of
Yep.
disobedience, not like, going off the walls here.
Yeah.
But like any little thing. So a temple recommend is a certificate issued to the members of the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints that allows them to enter the temple, signifying their worthiness to participate in sacred ordinances by answering specific questions about their faith and adherence to the church teachings during an interview with local church leaders. So
Mhm.
essentially, you have to have a temple recommend in order to be a active participating Mormon. So
Yep.
that is why it's so sacred to them because they need that temple recommend to get into temple. And if you're not in temple and you're not participating in temple, you're considered a inactive member.
And now is temple, because I was watching one person's testimony about like when they were in the faith and they're like now an ex-Mormon,
Yeah.
and they were talking about the temple, but they almost made it seem like there is the temple,
Yeah.
and then there's like their individual, which is I guess like their churches.
Yeah, I think that's how it goes. So I think like I was going to talk about it a little bit later on in the breakdown, but I think there's one main
Hmm.
like where you report to based on your location, and
Yeah.
then from there you like they break off. So like I don't necessarily know like if you get married, do you go to the main temple? That I'm not sure on.
From the video that I was watching, this ex-Mormon, he was saying like that's a big thing because you marry a Mormon and you
Yes.
want to get married at like the temple,
Yes.
but then you also, and he like volunteered and worked there for a while, so he was invited in a lot more.
Yeah.
But most members, average Mormons, don't get to just, it's not like a regular church where it's like, oh, we have Bible study or we have mom's group or
You
we have
can't just walk in
yeah,
and
you
out
can't just go to
freely.
church whenever.
Yeah.
Or temple. It's like you get invited. There's specific things you go for your
Like big life events.
yeah,
Yeah.
marriages, and I don't know if it's like they call it baptisms or I think there was like a different word for
No, I think it is
it is?
baptism.
Okay.
I think it is.
I think that they probably do a few other things too. Like I know in the Christian faith, there's like baptisms. You make profession of faith.
Yeah.
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 So I'm
Which
sure
and
have a
they
few of
are
those.
like we said earlier, they are a branch of Christianity.
Yeah.
So it could be baptism. I believe that's a term.
Yeah.
At least that's what Ruby Frankie said when her daughter was getting baptized by her husband.
Oh yeah.
All right, so the next point, like I kind of mentioned this earlier that I have is that members are told not to question or criticize their leaders.
Yep.
That's a big no-no. You listen to what they say and what they say goes.
And I've also heard you're not really similar to the JWs. You're not supposed to look up stuff on Mormons. Like they'll tell
No.
you, like, oh, if you look it up, like you'll probably see this, this, and this, but that's just the world being evil and trying to
Yep.
deceive you.
Yep. No, they're not allowed to look up Mormons because Mormons believe that what they like I was saying, what they say goes. So if you're getting any information that is not given to you directly by the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints, then that information is not valid. It's false information.
Yep.
It is dissent. It is not good.
If your religion is telling you, don't Google our religion,
Like
red
the
flag.
Jehovah's, which I think that kind of brings us into our next point.
Yeah.
Which is information. Do you have anything else on behavior?
I feel like all my stuff kind of ties into a few of the points. I
Yeah.
would say the only other thing that I have would be mission work.
Oh,
Like that's
yeah.
very important to them.
Yeah.
They push that a lot. So,
Mhm.
and one of the I was watching a guy was like giving his testimony
Yep.
on being an ex-Mormon, how he left the faith, whatnot. And this was
Yeah.
on YouTube. And he was saying that it was very big. Like when you, I guess, get to the age of like you're going to be graduating high school, whatever, around that age, so around
Yep.
18ish.
Yep.
It's very big where you're either going to get married or you're pushed to mission work. If you're not ready to be getting married, they kind of really push you to go towards mission work.
Yep.
And it's not like it's a bad thing. Like
No.
in the main Christian faith, I know it's big on, like even my church, they're big on having missionaries and they do mission trips and whatever, but it's not like, I feel like it's completely different. Like they offer and it's like, hey, if it's working for your life, like we have this, and they give you the opportunities, but if you don't feel called,
Right. If it's not for you, it's not for you.
yeah. And it seems like with the Mormons, it's very like, oh, you're not getting married. Well, why aren't you going on mission?
Correct. It is voluntold. I think too, like just to go with that point, like you had just said, it kind of ties in with stuff. There's a lot of overlapping stuff in this faith with the
Yeah.
bite model. We talked about how, they're not allowed to Google information about themselves, which ties into information. Like it's
Mhm.
kind of gonna be all over the place, but I mean,
And even,
it's a very complex religion
yeah.
or branch of Christianity.
And I will say, when I was looking up podcasts, when I was doing the JW one, I would literally go into like, I use Apple Podcasts, and I go on there and I look up like, oh, JW cults
Yeah.
or like X cults, whatever, just trying to find people's testimonies to get like real life examples and information.
Yeah.
And I will say, I listened to quite a few where people were on a podcast with Mormons
Mm.
or ex-Mormons, and they were like, yeah, I'm an ex-Mormon. I'm like, but some of them were like ex-Mormons that host their own podcast, and this is why they do it.
Right.
And but a lot of them were like, as they were going, they were like having epiphanies. They're like, oh my goodness, like their stories and every like rules and whatnot all pretty much lines up. There's just a little tweak that's
Right.
a little bit different for
Right. They're not door knocking.
no.
Right. Yeah.
But they are vlogging. They're vlogging hard.
They are vlogging.
And I saw a I don't know if it was like their, I don't know if they call it like their pastor or their priest or their whoever preaches to them. And he was like,
Are they bishops? I know Mormons report to bishops.
okay, yeah. Oh yeah, because I saw that
But I
movie
don't know
Frankie
if
at the
they're
end.
the ones that preach, because anytime they do anything bad, they have to repent to their bishop.
Okay, so probably the bishop. There was one who was on one of those. You ever like turn on the TV late at night when you were a kid, and there'd be like a preacher, and it'd be like max
Yes.
volume.
No, literally.
It was like a video of one of those. I think it was on the Ruby Frankie thing, and it was talking about. It was one of those guys talking about how like vlogging was encouraged because
Yep.
you can go and spread the word of Mormonism that way, and
No,
it's
literally.
like it's God's new calling in modern day.
And that's how she started, was because she wanted to share the word or the Book of Mormon.
Yeah.
And she wanted to show that, they're a normal family and they can do this, and they're a happy, loving family, and well,
Because happy, loving family tie up their children.
happy, loving families can also get a little greedy.
Shiny, happy people.
Oh,
Is-
no, literally. I
Are
looked it
Duggars
up.
also Mormons?
No.
Oh, they're just shiny,
They're
happy people.
they're a part of the IBLP, which I'm also fascinated with. That goes deep.
We should talk about them.
Dude, they're great.
Not
Well,
today.
they're
but we
not
will.
great, but you know what I mean.
They're great to
love,
look into.
I love looking into them.
Anyways. Oh yeah, and one other thing I was gonna say, their mission work is more like, again. So I was talking about like how in the Christian like denominations, like Reformed, non-denominational, whatever.
Yep.
When they bring it up, it's like, oh, we're doing a mission trip to Brazil this fall. If you want to sign up, and then it's like whoever feels called to sign up, and then it's like maybe 2-ish weeks.
No,
It's like
right.
something like you have your job and you like take a PTO time and you go and you come
No,
back.
Mormons are going like years.
Yeah, they like encourage. So what I found was young men, mainly young men, but they will sometimes go towards women.
Yeah.
Are pressured into at least 2-year missions. Most of the time in foreign countries with very strict rules while they're out there. So there's no dating, limited contact with family, and very strict schedules.
That doesn't even sound like, that sounds miserable.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like exciting to be doing the work of Jesus. To
No.
like to be spreading the gospel, which they're spreading the Book of Mormon, I guess, but
Yeah, but it's just like,
yeah.
what is the purpose of being like, okay, well, while you're there, you can't date anyone. You can't talk to your family, or very
That's the
limited.
kicker.
It's
Like, bro,
why?
what? Yeah. No,
Like
that's
what your
whack.
family's gonna be like while you're out there, like Mormonism isn't good, or like they're gonna
No,
if
literally.
if you were raised in Mormonism and your family's Mormon, and like they're gonna encourage you. Why would you?
No, right, literally.
But as we saw in Ruby Frankie, it's okay to just cut off your family.
No, right.
Sorry, I'm gonna be talking about that a lot.
I know
Next.
that. Well, it's fresh in our brains, and I
Yeah.
mean, I think she's probably the most controversial besides Sister Wives, Mormons, like to date in the media, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, one more thing about behavior, which I'm sure this could tie into other stuff, and we could talk about this more later. But so it's how the group controls people's actions.
Yep.
Obviously, there's the different branches of it, so they all believe in different things.
Yep.
But there's one where I think it's the fundamentalist Mormons are okay with polygamy,
Yep.
polygamy.
Polygamy.
And
That was funny.
yeah, earlier I was like reading it. I'm like polygamy. She's like polygamy. Anyways, so the fundamentalist Mormons are okay with polygamy, but like part of their rules are like you could have multiple wives, but you can't have multiple husbands. It's like there's one man, multiple women.
Correct.
But
Well, and
that
I
goes
think
back to Joseph Smith.
yes, I think the Mormon faith is very traditional. It is very, the man goes to work, the woman stays home and raises the kids, does the housework,
Which
the
hey, I got
whole
no
nine
problem with
yards.
that.
No, right.
But don't force me into it.
100%.
I want the choice.
That's exactly it.
It's what I want for my life, but like I don't want to be told that's what I have to do.
Correct. Correct. Yes. And it's with them, I think it's just kind of like an expectation. Like,
Yeah.
Like you're sure you can go to university, but which I went to a college that was a private Christian university, and it was always the running joke, like, oh, they're there to get their MRS degree, their Mrs. degree.
Oh,
So they're
yeah,
not
to like
they're not
find a
there for
spouse
they're
and
not there for the education. They're there to get a husband, you
Yep.
know, like which
which
I
that's a
think
big thing
is
within the Christian community. Anyways, a lot of times it's like, well, you're always encouraged to still go to college, but you go to college, and it's like you don't really even work or you do. It's like you get married, you work for a year, but you get pregnant right away. And it's like,
oh
that's
shoot,
it.
you gotta stay home.
Yeah,
All right.
but it's a good backup in case something happens.
No, right, for sure. That's just it.
Yeah.
All right, so let's dive into the information portion of the bimodal. Something that I found interesting was kind of again like what I was saying earlier was that the LDS Church, they control the information given to its members, and they really only promote teachings and materials that are from the church itself.
Yep.
So they create all of their own teachings from the Book of Mormon materials, whether it be study materials. Again, BYU, I'm sure that they're practicing and teaching all Mormon values, the whole 9 yards. I thought that was one thing that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, they also own their own, like, I guess the church itself owns a few like media outlets too, and
Oh,
that's
I'm
what they're
sure.
like encouraged to follow. Like one of them is I don't know if this Deseret News. It looks like desert with an extra E. I don't know.
Never heard of it.
And then BYU TV, and then they have a few other media outlets as well, and they're like encouraged to get their news from those sources.
Yeah. No, for sure. Well, it's because they don't want any dissenting information to be.
Yeah, and these
You know.
outlets are always like reinforcing positive church information
Yep.
and narratives.
Yep. The Mormons are great. We love Mormonism. This is the way of life. The whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
Another thing that I found was super interesting that kind of threw me for a loop, and I get it, but I don't at the same time, was that the members only have access to certain historical documents that have been approved by the church. Now, how deep that goes into it, I don't know. Like do they know like let's say they went to a Mormon school, right?
Yeah.
Do they know like that Hitler was a thing? Do they know
If it was approved by the church.
like Christopher Columbus? Is he a thing?
Like
Or
I feel
is
like
it
they have to
like Joseph Smith?
like I feel like legally they still have to teach certain things in the school. Like they can't take
But
away
it is Utah.
Yeah. But you
mean,
know what? Even
The governor's Mormon.
polygamy.
I'm cracking up, dude.
Even polygamy is
Polygamy.
not legal in Utah. It's kind of
No.
like you still is only one-on-one marriage, but then like
Yeah.
I don't know how that works. Like they have marriages, but they're just not legal.
That's why they're
like,
always on the run. They're always moving somewhere.
Yeah,
They
true.
gotta
They are
outrun the
always
law.
moving all over the place.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, if you think about it, it's not illegal to cheat on your spouse. So like, what if I decided like, hey, I'm gonna allow my husband to marry a few more women, but you don't like legally do it, and they all live here? Like, cops aren't gonna show up to the door and be like, you're only allowed to have one spouse living here. Like, if there's multiple women here,
Right. Well, and that's just it. Like even on Sister Wives, he had to divorce his first wife that he was like legally married to, so he could legally marry his fourth wife and adopt her children because the state wouldn't let him adopt her children without being a legal spouse.
And also, what's really weird about that show, I always assumed that they all lived in like one giant house.
They used to.
Each of the wives have their own. Well, yeah, like
Yeah,
now.
at the very beginning they did.
Yeah, they all have like their own homes.
Mm-hmm.
Which it's like, would it be more expensive to have one giant home or to have 10 individual homes? I don't think it was that many. I don't know how many wives he's got now. But when I first started
Now he's
watching,
got one. The other 3 left him.
I would too. Also, have you seen what he looks like?
No, literally.
How does a man like that? I mean,
ramen noodle hair. Yeah. No. Another piece of information that I found was that the church's doctrine portrays Joseph Smith, who is the founder of Mormonism, and other leaders in a positive light, so that way they ignore other controversial parts of the teachings.
yeah. But also, like, that whole thing just throws me for a loop. Because I like looked into it, and the whole story with, was it Joseph Smith?
Mhm.
So he was 14 years old, and he was like out in the woods or something, and felt like he saw two beings, which he said was Jesus and his father, I guess. So like God and Jesus.
Okay.
And he like saw the marks in his hands and everything, and like they came to him and told him like, hey, because this was in the beginning of, was it like the 1890s?
It was like 1890s.
Yeah.
Era.
So this was around the time where I guess only like 10% of white people were actually going to church at this time.
Yeah.
So they were bringing in a lot of people that went to church to spread the word to get more people, and it actually worked.
No, right.
Anyways, so this was
stuck.
Yeah. So he was at like a really great time to start something like this.
No, right.
And so you're telling me a 14-year-old boy was in the woods and comes back and is like, yo, Jesus came to me himself and he spoke to me. He said, this is the way. He said, I am going to marry multiple women. So are all of my men who follow me. And then the women are like, oh, so I can have multiple men? He's like, no. No, God was very, very specific. God said, I can have multiple wives. You cannot have multiple men. Because, it's sexist. I'm not saying he said exactly like that, but this is basically about how it went down. He said, but this was in the very beginning when it started, it was okay. Then eventually, it branched off, and there's like a few people that are still like the fundamentalists.
Yep.
And then there's like the modern Latter-day Saints where
Latter-day Saints. Yep.
Where they are only one man, one woman.
Yep. Monogamous.
Yes. But if you go through, anyways, so Joseph Smith, back then, he was, 14 years old, goes out there, says they came to him, and then he goes, oh, and I was told about these gold plates, but he couldn't go and access them yet. Like, he was guided to where they were in this, like, mountain, woodsy area, eventually finds, like, is told that he's allowed, like, I guess he found them, and he was told he was allowed to take them out, and I believe it was, like, 8 men that all witnessed all this.
Oh.
So they witnessed, like, him being told, like, the rules, witnessed him finding them, and then they were supposedly written in ancient Egypt language, but he was the only one who could translate it.
Huh.
So, yeah.
Interesting.
Which I don't know if these, like, plates actually exist, if they're, like, in a museum somewhere, if, like,
maybe that's a part of their, like, confidential historical documents.
Yeah. That they, like, I don't know.
Because I've never heard of that.
I'm not like that. I didn't go that deep into it,
right.
but, like, I just a little bit, because I kept hearing, like, Joseph Smith. I'm like, okay, who the heck is Joseph Smith? What is going on? And it's like, okay, well, you're going to believe some 14-year-old boy who went into the woods, and then, like, 8 of his friends were like, yeah, I heard it too.
No, literally.
And then, like, it just became this big. And then also, a lot of cults, they die when the founder person dies.
Yep.
And Joseph Smith passed away, and this thing kept going and growing.
Yeah. Mormonism is huge.
Yeah.
It's got a big following. That's for sure. So let's dive into thoughts. Do you have any more information points? Mine are kind of all like looped together. We pretty much already touched on all
I didn't really have anything else besides like the media outlets, limited internet access, outside sources, which we kind of touched on a little bit.
Yep.
Discouragement of questions.
Sweet. All right, let's dive into thoughts.
Cool.
So Mormon churches use various techniques to try to control members' thoughts and beliefs. So they try to control their thoughts with indoctrination.
Yep.
With thought-stopping techniques and discouragement of critical thinking.
Yeah, I've heard with the indoctrination. Yes, with the indoctrination, a lot of them say they like repeat specific phrases.
Yep.
Specifically, like, I know the church is true and follow the prophet.
Right.
So, like, if you're questioning your doubt, it's like, oh, what about this? Follow the prophet.
Yep.
Oh, well, I don't know how I feel about I know the church is true.
Right.
And it's like, okay, well, I can't question anything because you're told. And then, like, you almost get this from what I've heard. you get this like, and I guess it ties into another point of mine, like this guilt
Yep.
where you're like, oh, well, how am I questioning it? Like the church,
Disobedience.
yeah, the church is true. Like, how am I? And then you feel guilty and you start to doubt yourself because it's
Yep.
like, I can't believe that I'm not believing this.
And I can't believe I'm not trusting my leaders
Yeah, and
and
the prophets.
yeah, or the Book of Mormon. Yeah,
Yeah.
it really does all tie together. Like so smoothly too.
Yeah.
Like everything is just so cohesive.
Yep. Like in the Ruby Frankie again,
Yeah.
they were saying they would have like I think it was like Sunday nights. They were like, "Oh yeah, we had great family values, and like Sunday nights we'd all get together and we'd all like study individually, but like in a group, the Book of Mormon."
Yep.
And it's like I'm not saying it's like I mean again like I'm a Christian and like if we all like had a Bible study night where else like I don't have issues with that,
Right.
but I I don't know. There's just some
It's
weird things about it that's
it's different.
yeah.
There's things that make it like a little
yeah.
I
And I
don't
feel like it
know.
seems very wild when we're like, "Oh, it's a cult." Like I'm not saying like this is not one of those again, like it's not like I said the same thing with JWs. They're not like in the woods on a compound not talking to anyone. Like they are very
No,
in the world,
yes,
bring it to the
100%.
world, but there are just some things that kind of are similar to kind of culty vibes.
They give culty vibes,
Yeah.
right? Well, and that's why we're doing the bite model, right?
Yeah.
Like
Is it a cult? Is it not? So far,
I don't.
it's following the.
So far, they're giving cult vibes,
Yeah.
but that's for them and you and whoever else to decide for yourselves,
Yeah.
because whatever. But okay, so back into thoughts. Questioning or doubting the church's teachings are often discouraged and viewed as a lack of faith or disloyalty to the church, which again, literally what we were just saying.
Yeah.
If you don't believe and you don't follow their rules and their guidelines to a T, they're gonna view you as a disloyal member, and again, could take your temple rack.
Or you are labeled as being tempted by Satan.
Yeah. Let's move into the members of the church are actually taught to conform to the church's worldview and suppress any dissenting opinions or doubt.
Yeah.
Which is kind of whack. Like, what is like their worldview? I guess it would be probably based on the Book of Mormon, right?
I
You
would
would
assume
think.
so, yeah.
Yeah.
And whatever their bishops tell them.
Yeah, I guess that would be it. It's like whatever their bishop tells them. So essentially, all of these people are relying on the thoughts of how their bishop interprets the Book of Mormon. Or, I I really want to know, is the bishop the pastor?
Bishop in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has duties similar to a pastor. A bishop is the leader of the local congregation and is responsible for the spiritual and social needs of members.
Yeah. And then it says that the head of the church is called the president of the church.
Yeah, I see that. A branch president.
The presiding bishop is the highest leadership position within the church's Aaronic priesthood, although most of the work in this area is delegated to the church's young men general presidency. So, yeah. So it's like the bishop doesn't really do like the any of the hard stuff. He like delegates tasks to the young presidential. So, yeah, so they're reporting to their bishop. So essentially it's like you have Christian churches and then there's pastors of the Christian churches, and then you're basing your views and beliefs off of what your pastor says. That's why it's important to find a pastor that aligns with your views.
Little tangent here. Not even a tangent. I don't know why this case. Wow, I don't know why this just came to mind, but so when we did the JW cult episode,
Yep.
a lot of them are on the lower end of I guess like their pay levels. Like a lot of them are at poverty line.
Yeah.
Mormons seem to be on the upper end.
Yes.
At least from what I've seen, a lot of them have a lot of money, a lot
They
of
get
house.
some good cash flow. Yep.
Yeah. Which is kind of
Which I wonder, like, what do they do? Like,
yeah.
vlog?
Which, yeah, in the Ruby Frankie episode or series that just came out, one of the things that she was saying was like, she was like, oh yeah, and that's why I stopped vlogging. She's like, when I was vlogging, I was making millions. And
No,
it's like,
right.
okay.
Right.
So, but they weren't
How
doing that
many
before that. We had,
millions?
I mean, they moved into bigger houses,
Yeah.
but they didn't. The only thing I found is they have like this, no particular type of work. They work in a wide variety of professions, just like any other population group.
Yep.
A significant aspect of their lives, often dedicated to missionary work. Yep. But, like, why do they?
Where did they get their money from? Generational wealth?
Most of the church gets most of its money from tithing,
Yep.
and that's why their churches are wealthy because they have wealthy people who give 10%.
All right.
But what are these wealthy?
Where does
Let's
the
check
money come from? They got money
Kiora.
trees. The Mormons have money trees.
How
That's got
do
to be it.
Mormon do? They all just got them like
They got the secret sauce.
plucking the dollars off their tree,
Right.
$100 bills
Right.
off their trees. So I looked on Kiora. How do Mormons make money? If by Mormons you mean members of the Church of Jesus Christ of the Latter-day Saints, that's a mouthful.
It's a mouthful.
But this person is obviously a Mormon,
Right.
pretty much like everybody else, by working. Okay.
Okay, cool. That told us nothing.
Someone said, "Where do I start?"
Oh, spill the tea.
Yeah, like, what do you? Okay, so if you're a Mormon, let me know what you do for a living and how I can make that kind of money.
No, literally.
I wonder what did Ruby Frankie's husband do?
He was a professor at BYU.
And he made that kind of moolah?
Well, he had an
Either that or
engineering degree.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the
I
kicker.
say, is Utah just a very, very affordable place? Or
I mean, they do have a lot of land out there.
in Utah is very
Nobody's
Mormon.
like, I want to move to Utah.
Unless you're Mormon.
Right.
It's like the headquarters of Mormonism.
It is.
And they all like to shop and support other Mormons. So like in the JWs, they are like strict within like, oh, if you go to a doctor's to JW, if you go.
Yes.
Mormons, I didn't see anything like that, but it does seem like they're like, oh, if you need a recommendation for somebody, I can recommend a doctor who also is a Mormon. And
No, right.
so if they all, have their hands in each other's pockets,
Yeah.
they're all going to make each other richer.
Correct. Yeah.
Which seems that's what they do.
They're literally thriving within their own community.
Do they have their hands in everything?
Yeah, they do. I think Mormons are big in Hollywood too. Mormons and Jews.
Yeah.
Big in Hollywood.
Which is probably why it's not talked about very much, like the cultiness of it,
No.
because
they're the ones controlling the media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
no, for sure.
Scientology seems to be pretty big up in Hollywood too.
Scientology, yes. Yes.
Do you have anything else on the thought topic?
I don't. No, that was my last point.
They have handshakes.
They do.
Temple rituals and secret knowledge. It's one of the points that I have under the thoughts.
Oh.
I must have just like grabbed this from Google, so I don't remember pasting this in here. Special knowledge is reserved for the most faithful. Temple endowments, ceremonies, handshakes, and oaths, reinforcing exclusivity.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like if you walk in and you see people doing a handshake at the corner, I'm like, that's exclusive.
It's like when you're little and you make up those handshakes, like secret handshakes with your friends.
Like in Parent Trap?
Like, yeah, like is that what they're doing? Or are they just like casually shaking
Yeah, like
hands,
I'm thinking like they're like swapping hands and
maybe
like
they
wiggling their fingers in the
maybe
middle.
they like
"Ooh."
cross thumbs as they shake.
They like fold one finger in.
Right. Yeah, there's gotta be something special to it.
No, I'm thinking it's like gonna be like they're like doing turns, shaking their hands,
Literally.
wiggling fingers,
Bumping hips. Yeah.
Something extreme.
Right.
Backflip.
Right. No, literally.
It's like, oh, that bishop is in deep.
Yeah. Oh, he in it.
He did the flip.
Right.
That's exclusive.
Right.
So let's get into the emotional, how the group controls people's feelings.
Yes. We're going to keep saying it. Well, I guess this is the last point of the buy model, but everything kind of ties in. So the Mormon Church utilizes emotional manipulation to foster loyalty and obedience among its members. Kind of goes into behavior, kind of goes into thought. It really just all ties back into I feel like this is a fear-based faith.
Yeah.
The leaders want to instill so much fear into their members that they are scared to do anything other than what is in their guideline of what a Mormon can do.
I literally have written here fear of losing family and salvation.
Yep.
Which, like, I could see family being one of your biggest motivators, but I mean,
Yep.
especially if you're a religious person, salvation is very important.
Right.
And those could be two the biggest motivators.
Yeah.
I mean, you could lose everyone you love and everyone you know, but you could also lose your perfect eternity.
100%. And I mean, outside looking in, like, yeah, that still sounds scary. Culture or not, religion or not, that sounds scary.
Yeah, I mean, if you take the salvation away, religion, whatever, I don't care who you are, losing your family, I feel like is pretty scary.
No,
I mean, that's why a
100%.
lot of people even stay in toxic families or deal with a
Mm-hmm.
lot of crap because that's all you know. You were raised around them. That's
Yep.
everyone that, I mean, they're blood, and
Yep.
it's hard to separate from that.
No, 100%. A point that I found like was true in most like Mormon like high profile cases that we've seen was that some members may experience feeling like belonging, acceptance, and love within the church community, but then also they fear that rejection and they fear the punishment and the disobedience so much so that like again they're scared to break any rules.
Yeah.
So this church is essentially love bombing them, right? They're if they're doing everything right, they're getting love bombed, and they're like, oh, like you're promised this great eternity, and like you're doing the right thing for your family, and you're doing what what you're called to do. But if you don't do that, then you could lose your family.
Yeah. And it
You
kind of ties in again.
could lose your temple wreck.
I keep talking about the Ruby Frankie documentary, but it's just so relevant
It's
to
so
this.
yeah, it's so prevalent right now.
And so, like, talking about the love bombing, it reminds me of there's the one part of the documentary where they her husband Kevin starts doing the weekly men's encounters
Yes.
with Jody Hildebrandt, and he was saying that he felt so good because in the beginning she was like calling him out
Yep.
and basically
Praising him.
love bombing him,
Yeah.
just giving him all this reassurance, and he's doing so great, and it
Yep.
made him feel so good. But then in the
Yep.
end, she flipped it and started taking all that away and just made him feel like
Yep.
terrible.
She flipped the script as soon as she had what she wanted, and as soon as she snaked her way into their lives. She's like, "Oh, Kevin, you're lusting too much in this way," and like
Yeah.
they don't even consider like she was using lust in like various terms, like you're lusting over your job too much, and you're lusting over this too much, and it's like okay, but like he's also like trying to love his family and provide for his family and
He's doing
be
everything
be
he
a
can.
fun, good dad
Yeah. And she flipped, and because he was looking for her almost
and
acceptance,
approval.
yeah,
Yeah.
that he became like this hermit and just followed everything.
Yep. It's almost like she would like get into these like as soon as she like got however deep she wanted to get into in these families, it's like she would build them up so high and completely like once they were like all in with her, she broke them down.
Oh, she would tear them down
Yeah.
so hard,
Yeah.
so quick. Like once she got that chokehold,
And outside looking in, it's like, bro, how could you not know that you were being brainwashed? But I'm sure in that moment, I mean, too, like think about how they're living in their mindsets, even just being Mormon.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? They're so scared of disobedience. And when your bishop recommends a therapist that, is highly known within the Mormon community, you're gonna trust them.
oh yeah, 100%.
Like it's like if your pastor told you, "Hey, I got a great therapist. You should give him a call." Or if it's like your uncle's like, "Hey, I got a great therapist. You should give him a
Like
call."
everyone I know uses them.
Right.
It's because everyone you know is Mormon.
Right. And when you have all these success stories, you're like, "Oh, great. Like they're
Yeah.
probably a trusting person." Boom.
Well, did you
Your
see the
life is
part
flipped upside down.
where he said that Jody, so her husband, Kevin Frankie, said that Jody was very forthcoming about everything. Like right when he met her, he's like, "Hey, by the way," or Jody was like, "Hey, by the way,
Yep.
if you Google me, you will see this bad review and this bad review, and these are the things that they say."
Yep.
And she calls it all out. She goes, "But you need to understand, like they were nasty people and they
Yeah.
were down bad in this way." So then they
And
look
they were
at it as
addicted
like,
to this and they did that.
yeah. So she
Yeah.
again flipped the script to make it look like, oh, that's why they gave me that bad review because they were struggling with this.
100%. Again, the church just uses guilt, shame, and fear of consequences, and like we said, their afterlife, their eternity, to influence their behaviors and discourage dissent. And I've been saying dissent a lot. And dissent essentially is just to hold or express opinions that are different from what is taught.
Yeah.
So if somebody's dissenting, they're veering from what they've been taught, and that's highly, highly discouraged.
Yeah.
And that's the word that they use, dissent. You got anything else on emotional?
I have their public confessions and disciplinary
yeah.
actions, which we did talk about that a little bit earlier.
The public confessions.
Which
Wild.
Mormons are not the only ones who do this.
Yeah.
I can get a little touchy. There are certain branches, which I guess is a branch of Christianity, but there are certain other ones that I know of where they are big on this, where if there's something that doesn't go along with the church, you
Mm-hmm.
need to go up and confess.
To the congregation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what you did, and otherwise you will be kicked out of the church or excommunicated.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's one reason why which I mean, maybe we could do a topic on this another day, but yeah, one reason why I'm like I'm technically a church I go to is like I think it's non-denominational.
Yeah.
And we used to be just reformed. Now we're non-denominational. Anyways, we do not have that in our church, and that's one thing that would like I've gone to churches where they've had that, and that's one thing that really turns me off because I believe like what goes on with you is between you and God.
No, 100%. It's not anybody else's business.
Yeah, no.
No.
And if you're not religious, then it's between you and whoever you believe in, or just yourself.
Yeah.
But
also, that's emotional torture, literally.
Yes, it's not for you to go up and be like, "Oh no, I did it," like because I feel like that's a big fear thing.
Yeah.
Okay, now so you have to go and confess to everybody what you did because no one's perfect. Everyone's gonna make mistakes, and now you have to go and it has to be public.
100%, and that's a good way to instill that fear in people to get them to not do what you don't want them to do.
Yeah. And then they can use it to control you and. Yeah, so members are warned of the last days. Leaving of the church means spiritual destruction, missing out on exaltation, which, again, in the Ruby Frankie documentary, they were talking about that because during COVID, when that came, there's just all these different things that were going on. So, like, all these people were dying.
Yep.
And they started, like, emergency prepping.
Yes.
And they were, I feel like that was part of their downfall, too, is they thought, like, Kevin even said it. He's like, we were waiting. Kevin was saying that was, like, a big thing is in 2020, COVID came, people were passing away.
Yep.
And they started emergency prepping, and there was riots and just all this thing that was, and they weren't the only ones. There's a lot of people in the world who are like, oh my goodness, these are the end times.
Right.
And I feel like every time anything can happen. And
right.
all the religious, all the people who believe in the end times, sorry, I can't say the word,
right.
Start freaking out, posting it all over the world. Like there could be an earthquake. They're like, it's the end times.
No, literally.
Get right with God.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that's what, and they were like, Kevin was saying, we were waiting, like something big's gonna happen. We were called, we were prepared for this, and they were waiting for something.
Literally,
big to happen.
they were on the edge of their seats.
Yeah,
waiting
like they
for
just
the big
could
thing.
not wait. Yeah. And then when Jody was possessed, they were like, "Oh my god, this is it!"
No,
like,
literally,
they were like shaking in their boots, like excited.
If you are interested in anything about the Mormons, you need to watch this documentary.
Go watch it.
It's on Hulu. It's called like the Devil in Our Family or something like that. Yeah, it's so good. Like it, and clearly, like when, like they were saying, like how you're saying she's possessed, you can clearly tell she's acting.
Yeah,
bad faith actor is what she is.
Well, also when and again, you guys need to go and watch this documentary so you understand a lot of what we're saying. But there was one part where the bishop was in there and he was praying over her.
Yes,
and he finally was like, like I don't even know what else to do. Like basically the bishop was giving up because he's like nothing's working.
Yeah.
And
she had everybody fooled.
And then Kevin went in there, was doing his own prayers, and finally she kicked him out. And that's when his wife was like, "Oh, I think she just needs a friend."
And then they started.
Sir, your wife is a Ladala bean.
No, literally, bro. Literally.
Oh, literally.
Yeah. Also, Sherry Frankie's book. If you read that book or listen to it and watch the documentary all together, you're gonna be like, "Bro, what was going on behind closed doors?"
We should do her book for book club.
I already listened to it.
Oh, you listened to it?
Yeah.
All right, so never mind. I can't. I won't recommend it.
Yeah. I mean, you could. I already read it, so like, I don't care.
Yeah. If you guys didn't know, we're also in a book club together. So
yeah. True story. Let's go over the type of Mormonisms real quick.
Oh yeah,
Mormonism.
Go for it.
The types of Mormonism.
Mm-hmm.
So real quick, just because we've kind of been throwing out a lot of different names throughout the episode, so this is the backstory, which probably should have started with this, but whatever. It's fine. We're telling you now. So there are different types of Mormonism, and we've also been interchanging Church of Latter-day Saints, LDS, fundamentalists, all that stuff. So this is going to be the breakdown. So Mormons attend the Church of Latter-day Saints. That is what their church is. So if you hear somebody and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm a part of, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints," they're Mormon. That's interchangeable. So then the main types of branches of Mormonism are mainstream Mormonism, and this is the largest group of Mormonism, and it's led by the LDS Church in Salt Lake City. That is the most common type. Then we go down into fundamentalist Mormonism, and that is also known as the FLDS. they broke off of LDS over polygamy. So the
So that's like the sister
fundamentalists,
wives.
yes,
Okay.
the fundamentalists are sister wives, FLDS, polygamy,
And the
multiple
mainstream
wives.
is like Mormon wives. Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
No, I think they're going to be my last point.
Oh, okay. Never
Yeah,
mind.
mainstream Mormonism would probably be like I don't know, like if you go downtown Salt Lake, you're probably gonna run into an LDS person. Like they are a Mormon, but I don't know if they're as strict.
Okay.
The next type is going to be liberal Mormonism, also known as progressive Mormonism. These are the ones that they interpret the LDS teachings and scripture more liberally and literally.
Okay.
They would be probably like I'm not gonna lie, I spent quite a bit of time trying to figure out like what type of Mormon Ruby Frankie was, and I literally couldn't find anything. But I feel like she would fall under this category.
Okay.
Very literally, like this is what you do, this is what you don't do.
Mm-hmm.
Sherry talked about losing her Tupperware rack all the time. Like I think that this is probably what they were.
Yeah.
Could be wrong, but I don't know. And then the last type of Mormons are cultural Mormons. So these are the people who identify as Mormons, but may not believe in all the LDS doctrines. And they're usually ex LDS members who identify still as Mormons, but do not involve themselves with the church. And that's what I think that
I feel like some of them
Secret Lives of Mormon
are, and
Wives.
some of them are maybe more mainstream, just because like people
Yes.
like Whitney.
Mainstream.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or she acts like she is. Because if she was going to
Right.
rate herself on a Mormon scale, she'd be 11 out of 10.
No, 100%. Literally. Yeah. No, and then you got Taylor who's like, she's like, oh, I'm Mormon.
Yeah, but
But you're not.
But at the
you're
end,
not acting like it.
at the end, Whitney's pregnant in lingerie, walking around town. It's like, girl,
True. Pick a side,
where's
bro.
your magic underwear?
No, literally, pick a side. Pick a side.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I got.
Did you have a list of Mormon celebrities?
I do.
Okay, because I was just looking at a few, and I'm like shocked right now. So please give me your list.
Yep.
'Cause I'm...
So we have sister wives, obviously.
Yeah.
They are Mormons. They're actually, this kind of gets a little complex. So they are fundamentalist Mormons, but then they're a part of a group of fundamentalist Mormons. So they're members of Apostolic United Brethren, AUB, aka AUB.
Mm-hmm.
So they're a fundamentalist group of practicing polygamists. And actually, this is a fun fact for you. Christine, who is one of the ex-wives of Cody Brown,
Yes.
her grandpa founded the AUB sector
Really?
of Mormonism. Mm-hmm. So she's like, there was, I saw some clips and stuff, which I don't remember this far back because I do watch the show, but not that religiously.
Yeah.
But I guess Cody had said that he only married Christine because she was like
Because of her
Mormon,
status?
like Mormon blood gold, like
Because of who she was, who's using her.
yes.
Which
Yes,
isn't she the
yes.
one with like the blonde hair who
Mhm.
like wanted to go off and start all of her own businesses, and he
Mhm.
was like, I remember that episode.
Yeah.
That was pretty far in the beginning, but he was like, I
Yeah.
just recently started watching it.
She's arguably the most fun one out of all of them.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he was like very judging her, like,
Yeah.
are you willing to risk the house on it? And she's
No,
like,
literally.
bet.
Facts. So then, obviously, we have Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
Yep.
Another huge show. Getting into down to single celebrities, we have Amy Adams.
Mm-hmm. What is she from?
Amy Adams, I was going to look it up. She's in a lot of stuff. What's one of her most famous movies?
Oh, this chick. First of all, can I just complain? She's in a new movie called Night Bitch. I have not seen it, but like I saw the
I haven't
commercial.
even heard of it.
I don't think that's like one of her best.
Oh.
What's
a popular movie that we would know?
I haven't seen it, so I can't judge. Let me look at the list, but I'm looking for the one that's like in my head that I know her from. Oh, she's in Talladega Nights.
That's what it is.
Susan in Talladega Nights? I gotta look at a photo now. Oh, she's like his assistant. Will
Yes.
Ferrell's assistant.
Yes.
Okay, I need to look. I know her face from something, and this is gonna drive me nuts.
You got to figure it out.
She's in a lot of like. Do you ever get that where you look at someone and you're like, oh, I know she's from something big, and then you look and it's a bunch of like weird little small movies?
Yeah,
like
like
what
there's one specific scene that's in your mind that you have to find.
Yes.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with her right now.
Yeah, and I'm like, I know it's got to be. It ain't Talladega Nights.
No.
I mean, I know, but she's from something else. That's maybe she just looks like someone else. She's an Enchanted. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
I think, yeah, that might be it.
Hillbilly Energy, Talladega Nights.
Hillbilly Elegy. That's what I know her
Elegy.
from.
Did I say Energy?
Yeah.
Hillbilly
She
Elegy.
plays JD Vance's mom in Hillbilly Elegy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay.
All right.
That's it.
Yep.
That was mine.
Oh, and Night of the Museum.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep. So
Okay.
that is Amy Adams.
Sure. Yep.
Then who else did you have?
I have the Osmond family. This is kind of a throwback, but Donnie Osmond and Marie Osmond, for our older generation listeners, you'll probably know them.
Oh, this boy, Donnie.
Donnie Osmond, yep.
He's had some work done.
Marie Osmond, she was always she was either Weight Watchers or Jenny Craig. I don't remember which one. She was always on those commercials. And then the next
You know
one,
why I recognize him?
Huh.
My good old fellow Christians from back in the day should know this. There was like a live action play thing that my parents used to watch on VHS tape. My parents used to show me all the time. Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Oh.
And it's like I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a play almost.
Yeah.
But it was like recorded on VHS, and it has this and he was in this.
I know they had him in.
And it's giving me such like I need to go back and watch. Oh my goodness. I'm like having
nostalgia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you didn't grow up in this. So you wouldn't have you ever seen this before?
No.
Oh my goodness. Ask
Empress.
When you get home, ask Empress.
Okay.
About Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Okay.
Because I'm sure she's seen it. Like sorry.
I've never seen that. I do know that Donnie and Marie had their own show. It was literally called the Donnie and Marie Show. I'm pretty sure.
Really?
Yeah. Next one, hot name. You're gonna know it. No need to Google. Ryan Gosling.
Dude, I just looked up like Mormon celebrities right before you were saying this, and he was like number 1 on this list. Like, no idea.
It? Yeah.
There's another one more on here that I'm like mind blown on.
Katherine Heigl.
That's what I was thinking.
That's the one.
Dude, that's wild.
Yeah. I guess I was reading something on her, and I guess when she moved to Hollywood, she was like looking for a Mormon temple to get into, and she said she just really didn't feel comfortable with any of them out there, so she kind of just tapered off. So she's not.
So she's one of the what was the last one on your list?
What?
The last branch of Mormonism.
Oh, cultural Mormon.
So she's like probably cultural Mormonism.
Yeah. Next one I have is Julianne Hough.
Really?
I was kind of surprised by that one, to be honest with you. I did not expect it.
Let's see what she's from real quick.
She's on Dancing with the Stars. She's got her brother Derek Hough, who's also on Dancing with the Stars. She's
Footloose. That's what I was thinking of.
Footloose.
Oh, and Safe Haven.
Safe Haven. Yep.
Okay.
She's in a lot. And then the last one that I have is Mitt Romney. He's a politician. He's a politician. He was the 70th governor of Massachusetts. And then he also served as a senator for the state of Utah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like I could have guessed this one.
Yeah. Which, I mean, that's not to say that there isn't Mormons here, but he was born in Michigan. Detroit, Michigan. Yeah. Which is kind of weird, I guess. But, oh, dang, he went to Harvard, too. Wow. No BYU.
Did you say Detroit, Michigan?
Yeah, that's where he was born. So it says he was a senator for the state of Utah. And then, he currently is. He's a senator for the state of Utah. And then he was the governor of Massachusetts before he was a senator. I do believe he had his run for the presidency as well.
Yes.
So, could have had a Mormon president. Coulda, shoulda, woulda.
I'm sure we have.
I'm sure we have too. I'm sure we've had all the different kinds of presidents.
I don't think we've ever... What?
Besides a woman.
Oh, I was gonna say, I don't think we've ever had a satanic one. Like one that like was like all for that party.
Not that we know it. You never know back in the day.
Not that was like...
Not outwardly.
I was gonna say publicized, but
outwardly satanic, no.
I was just looking up. There have been no for presidents. No Pentecostal.
Okay.
No Latter-day Saint. No Lutheran.
So Latter-day Saint is Mormon. So no Mormon presidents.
No Eastern Orthodox.
Jewish.
Assyrian Church of the East. Oriental Orthodox.
Oh.
Adventist. And Anabaptist.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what all those are.
I'm not really sure either.
But we have not had those yet. So,
okay. So
if you're one of those and you want to diversify the presidency,
the key point here is we have had no Mormon president,
Yeah.
and we should. Maybe. I don't know. Depending on how you feel about this
Only
episode.
only if you make it a reality show as well.
Only if you
That
are
would be the
on the
best
show
reality
Secret
show
Life
ever.
of Mormon Wives.
We have not had a reality show on someone who lives in the White House, like a president's. Like, wasn't there a Disney movie like The President's Daughter or something?
Yes.
Like, they need to have a reality show, or like Corey in the House.
There's also, oh my gosh, Katie Holmes is in like one of my favorite movies ever, The First Daughter.
Oh yeah,
That's a great movie.
I mean, I'm sure it would like cross a lot of lines doing that.
Even
but
though
I
she
feel
was
like,
married to a Scientologist for a hot minute, she was on the struggle bus, but
hey,
it's all good now.
that's why they call it a cult. It can get you. It can bite you easy.
Right on.
Did you have any other like final thoughts or comments or anything you want to bring up?
Final thoughts are for me. I think I don't know. I think I'm kind of on the fence with Mormons. I think if they were not so controlling,
Mhm.
I think they probably could like they would just be like, "Oh yeah, they're Mormon."
Yeah.
But because we know the deep roots,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, "Oh, you're Mormon."
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
If you follow the bite model, technically
They do.
they do cross the cult line.
Yes.
But again, I do feel like it depends which branch you're from.
100%.
Some of them are stricter than others.
Yep.
Some of them obviously are way more controlling and wild than others.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm kind of like, it gives some culty vibes.
Yeah.
Depends where you're from, but
Right.
mostly it's just
And I
religion.
like
to me.
you said, I really think that it does depend on what branch you're
Yep.
in. If you are LDS, like mainstream, fine, whatever. Fundamentalist, meh.
It's how serious and how serious you take it and how deep into it you get. Like the stronger your faith is,
Right.
the
Cultural
cultier
Mormons,
it is.
definitely not.
No.
Right. So it really just depends on how deep you are into it and how dedicated
Yeah.
you are to the Mormon lifestyle. But I'm kind of 50-50 on this one. What do you think?
Yeah. I feel like I lean, yeah, like I said, it just depends how deep you are, but it's pretty, like, it's got room for.
The signs are there.
Yeah.
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 The signs are there, but then also too, if they're not there, then okay, like it's just like the Book of Mormon, like
Yeah.
whatever.
One final thing that I wanted to bring up that we didn't bring up yet. Their magic underwear, that they call it, or like the temple garments.
Yes, the temple garments. Oh my gosh, how did we not talk about
So
this?
the first time I ever heard about it was on Sister Lives of Mormon
Yes.
Wives, because what's the one who's married to the guy who I swear he is not straight?
Whitney.
Is it Whitney? No,
Yeah.
no, not the other one. Zach.
Oh. Wait.
Zach gave me those vibes. Maybe
Who's he married to?
He's the one who's got the long hair. He's married to the short, tiny one. The one who's like very was like wasted all of his family's money. He's got a gambling addiction, and then he wanted to go to school. Was it to
him.
be a doctor?
Yes.
I want to say that was
Yes.
Zach.
Yes.
But then
Wait,
he was like, honestly,
he gave you vibes?
yeah, he gave me vibes a little bit.
Huh. He gave me narcissist vibes.
Oh,
is what
100%.
he gave me.
Yeah.
I just,
Oh, Whitney. Maybe I was confusing. I know Whitney's husband for sure.
he gives off the vibes.
Yeah, he
And that's okay. To each their own.
yeah. But he
He
should
definitely
just
gives a vibe.
maybe he just doesn't realize it yet, but he needs to get out.
Okay.
Well, like when everyone was saying, when he was like, "Oh yeah," I guess he was like talking to someone, and his wife like confronted him about it. This is the very first episode in the beginning, and everyone's like, "Bro,
Yeah.
you were on Grinder."
No, literally.
So that's where you were finding these people.
Yeah.
But then he changed his hair and he tried to look a little bit more. It
literally
didn't
went
work,
blonde. Right.
but she also changed her hair a million times.
No,
Anyways,
she did. She did. She changed her hair so much.
yeah, every single scene it was different, and it got worse and worse. It's like, ma'am, stop, just leave it alone. Don't touch it.
Literally, stop
Leave it alone.
touching your hair.
I could talk about this all day. Okay, so Zach, he's married to, is it Jenny?
No, it is. Yes, it's Jenny.
Yes, she's
Jenny.
the skinny,
Jennifer
tiny little Jennifer.
Affleck. Because
Yes,
his
because he's related to Ben Affleck.
yeah
Every time I hear Affleck, I always
Which
think of the dog.
also
Affleck
tracks. No, literally. Yeah, that tracks. I feel like they kind of have the same like
demeanors.
yeah. I don't know necessarily narcissist, but like kind of like snooty.
Yeah,
I'm better than you vibe is what I get.
like
from
the fact
both
when
of
he
them.
told her that he wanted her to move so he can go to school, and then she was like, "Well, I got
Yeah.
mom talk, and he was like, honestly, like they'll be fine without you. They won't miss you.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, no,
what?
he was a jerk.
The only reason they have everything is because she was doing that. He's
Yeah.
spending all their money. She's making it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I think there was at one point where she was talking about. She seemed like she was like one of the more humble ones, but then there was
Yes.
a point where she went and she was like a little bit snootier too, probably
It
because she
was
was
when they
married to
went to
him.
like the strip club or something like that.
Yeah,
The male strip club.
which part of it was because of how controlling he is.
Yeah.
But I think she was talking about how she's like, oh yeah, well I always wear like my garments and
Yeah. Which is whack.
which is the first time I heard about it, and that's when I went.
And I
like,
think their garments are like long shorts.
it's like a one piece like bodysuit thing that you put on. It's like
Yes.
shorts but
Like
it
a
goes up
tank
it's like a
top.
top thing,
Yeah.
so it's like a one.
Like a wife beater tank top almost.
Yeah, what's the point of that?
I don't know. Like to like preserve your modesty
Yeah,
for
but it's
temple
only
for your husband.
devout Mormons wear special undergarments known as temple garments under their clothes after receiving their endowment in the temple. These garments are believed to provide spiritual protection and are worn at all times except swimming, exercise, intimacy. Duh. A ceremony that prepares participants to become kings, queens, priests, and priestesses in the afterlife.
Wow. Okay. Serious stuff.
So you can, if you get an endowment, you can become a queen in the afterlife. Bam.
Bet. Sign me up.
I want to be a princess. Oh,
Bet.
sorry, priest or a priestess.
Does that mean if I? Oh.
A priestesses? Kings, queens, priests, or priestesses.
Yes. I think that's
There we
actually
go.
priestesses.
That's
Yeah.
what it says. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a princess, a priestesses.
Yeah.
I'd rather be a queen.
Do I get like people to bring me like my food instead of having to pay DoorDash to do it if I'm a priestess?
It's like, oh, I didn't get to my endowment, so now I got to feed you grapes.
No, literally. Yeah. Wow. Interesting.
Yeah. Little tangent, but
Little tangent to wrap it up. What do you think? You got anything else?
no, that's all I had.
That's all I got too. Well,
Cool.
I think that does it for another episode of Paranoid Perspectives.
Yeah. Let us know what cult you guys or religion you guys want to hear about next.
Yeah.
I think
this was a good one.
Yeah.
This was a really good one.
Especially with it being so relevant, I guess, in our culture nowadays.
No, for sure. It's all you see.
Oh yeah, with all the streaming services, it's very, very well known.
Yeah. No, so yeah, let us know what you guys thought of this episode. Like we said, it was a requested topic, so we hope you enjoyed it and we did you justice on your request. And yeah, we're excited to get into another one. We need to do another cult one.
Yeah, I think we have Scientology on the list.
Yeah.
There was one.
I did put the IBLP on there.
You did?
Yeah. Which is IBLP is 19 kids and counting on all the things.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because they just came out with a documentary too. Was it My Happy
Shiny Happy People?
Shiny Happy People.
Yep. Yeah, that was good too. I already seen that one.
It is.
Yeah, it's very good.
I need
you
to
gotta
watch it. That's like next on my list. And then what else? The 12 Tribes or the Yellow Deli. That's one I wanted to talk
Okay.
about
I've never
too.
heard of that.
I heard it on when I was listening to one of the podcasts, and it was an ex-Jehovah Witness. He was talking about it, and he was like, that's a crazy one that you got to get into and look into. Something, I think the Yellow Deli is like an actual deli.
Like a sandwich shop?
Yes.
What in the world? It's getting
Before
crazy out here.
The Yellow Deli, a peaceful place to bring a friend. A peaceful haven of recycled barnwood, basket lamps, and beautiful paintings. But is this the right one?
I don't think we're talking the right one here.
No, I heard it. Yeah, I heard it was in New York.
Okay.
At least, I don't know if there's other ones, but like the main one is in New York.
Okay. I wonder if it's like tied into like Jewish people. There's a lot of Jewish people in New York.
Yes, the 12 Tribes runs multiple businesses, including the Yellow Deli. We'll do an episode about 12 Tribes. We did the Mormon one.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. No, this is a good series. It is touchy. So again, we just emphasize that you guys go out and do your own research and form your own opinions.
Yeah, none of this stuff is mainly fact-based. It is mainly opinion. It's not very fact-based.
Right.
A lot of it, again, like I get a lot of my research from like listening to ex-Mormons, people telling their life stories, because I feel like I think I was telling you this earlier, I get the most of it.
Yeah.
I retain the most information and understand it the most when I hear people telling me their experiences.
Yeah. And I just like the facts.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And it's good to have a little bit of both.
No, yeah, for sure. Yeah. So let us know what you guys think of this episode. We're going to wrap it up here for you. And we'll catch you next time on the next episode.
Yeah. Sounds good. Make sure you guys subscribe, like, comment, all the things.
All the things. Follow us on all the socials: TikTok,
Yep.
Insta, YouTube, Spotify, Apple. We're there.
Yep.
And we're
Email.
email. I always forget our email.
Yeah, we got it all.
Shoot us over an email and let us know what you guys are thinking so far of the podcast. And see you guys on the next one.
Yeah. See ya.
Bye.
That's a wrap. That's a wrap.